Welcome back, everyone. This is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another video. And I've started to look a little bit more into these skills and all the different intricacies about them, and I wanted to give a brief rundown of the absolute basics of what these skills are and how I understand them. So, if you want to see where I am, you can look at the skill button down here in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and it'll open up all of the skills that you have. Since we're just going to talk about the skills themselves, I won't go into collection or rubbing room this time around. I'll save that for a different video. But first things first, you have different tabs down here at the bottom. These are the different categories or types of skills that you have. And I know this has tripped up a lot of people because there's been some confusion about what hero is best based on their skills without taking into effect the type of skill they're working with. So this is a good starting point. Commands. If you look at commands, command skills can only be triggered during the prep round and will not be affected by any control status. So anything that disarms, stuns, silences does not affect command skills, and its effect will last until the end of the battle and would generally affect the whole troop. Certain ones may not last for the whole fight. For example, you have Spanish Tercio here. During the first 3 rounds of battle, decreases damage taken by 2 ally units. You've got during the first 3 rounds of battle, grants urgent aid from reservist mobilization. And or here, whenever the equipped hero activates an assault skill. These basically are kind of like passive abilities that take effect during the first round of combat, well, before the first round of combat, that will affect the trajectory of the entire fight. They're great for counter control teams because you automatically have these in place and they can't be silenced, they can't be disarmed, they can't be stunned out of the way. So this is going to affect the fight whether the enemy wants it to or not. Active skills are your straightforward, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to prepare and do this. Reading it, it's a skill that has a probability to trigger whenever a hero takes an action during each round. Your hero takes 1 action per round. Some active skills require preparation, and we're already on one right here. Byzantine Flamethrower, a lot of you probably have this one if you spent a little bit. Prepares for 1 round, launches a tactical attack on the next round. So if this activates, it will prepare and then launch that attack on the following round. During the preparation, this skill can be interrupted by stun silence effects. So if there is a control ability that stops skills, it will end the skill before it actually goes off. So if you're prepared for this and then a stun or a silence hits, you won't take any. The enemy won't take any damage. Granted, active skills tend to have a lot higher probability rate than some of the other ones that you'll run into, and their effects are pretty straightforward. They tend to deal more damage. They tend to have greater rates of control abilities, so on and so forth. Like Byzantine Flamethrower inflicts burn, not a chance to inflict burn, just inflicts burn. So keep that in mind. Active skills will usually hit harder than their assault counterparts and tend to have better probability of inflicting status ailments. But they are also more susceptible to control effects. Now, assaults are the other side of this. An assault skill is a skill that has the probability to trigger after a hero has performed their normal attack. Notice the difference there. Active skill, you have 1 per round. An assault skill, it's however many normal attacks you can get in a round. Now, if you haven't already connected the dots there's a particular status in this game called Batter. And I can actually pull one up here. Actually, if I can find one that gives me a good amount. Batterer stance. Just so I can read the exact skill effect. Batter launches an additional normal attack, but deals 25% less damage and healing. So you incur a debuff of 25% to your damage and healing, but you launch an additional attack. That means you're doubling the chance of any of your assault skills going off. See how that can make a huge difference with some of the heroes that have assault abilities over active abilities? One thing that I kept seeing pop up a lot, and I was a big fan of Scipio during Rise of Kingdoms, so I wanted to try and make him work. But people thought that Scipio wasn't very good. You can shut up, Scipio. People thought that Scipio wasn't very good because he had a low probability of it going off, and it says after a normal attack launches another physical attack with only a 30% chance of inflicting silence, as opposed to other heroes that had a 100% chance of inflicting silence. So what was the issue there? The issue being he can get this off multiple times in a single round if he has the batter effect placed on him. So I took that route, and I'm placing enters batter state, gains a normal attack every round, and you can stack batter. So you can have 2, 3, even 4 normal attacks going off in a single round. So keep that in mind. Assault skills have a lower probability overall, but that's because you can stack normal attacks to raise the probability. Passive abilities are exactly what you think they are. 100% of the time, this is going to be in effect. And it can range from increasing the probability of your own active skill by a such and such percent, grants tactical bonus damage and healing effect. There's certain things gaining healing every round. There's a lot of options here with passive abilities. These can't be stopped. Passive skill can only be triggered during the prep round and can't be controlled by a control status, lasts until the end of the battle, generally affects the equipped hero themselves. Military strategies are essentially buffed commands. Military strategy can only be triggered during the prep round, can't be affected by control, and they have very powerful effects that can affect multiple heroes, because a military strategy tends to be a group strategy. I only have 2 here, and you can collect more from the dispatch menu's special missions. If you don't know about those, feel free to ask. I can do a video on the dispatch later. However, just look at Night Decree. After the battle starts, increases damage dealt and healing effect of your 2 random heroes by over 17%. That's pretty nice, especially if you have a hero that isn't designed to do a lot of damage and you only need them for one thing. Popping Night Decree on them to boost your allies' damage and healing effects is a nice bonus. Here, I just picked up Scorch Earth. It's an A ability, and it increases damage taken by burned enemies by 12%, and decreases unburned targets' damage dealt. So not only does it increase the damage I deal to burned enemies, it also weakens the ones I haven't burned yet. So military strategies are great to have. Just know you can only have one. Now, looking at the skills themselves, I'll go through this pretty quickly. Skill grade is exactly what you think it is. There's A, S, and double S. A can be awakened into an S rank, and S can be awakened into a double S. All it does is increase the abilities of increase the percentages. Usually whatever is in green is what's going to get buffed by upgrading the level and awakening a skill. So here we have increases damage taken by burned enemies. The level 20 effect boosts this all the way up to 23.8, so almost double the effect. And then when you awaken it, it goes all the way up to 28 and 12. So this would become an S grade skill at level 20, awakened, having a 28% increase to damage taken by burned enemies, and decreasing unburned targets damage by 12% for 1 round. Skill type, we just went over those. That just tells you what type of skill you're working with between command, active, assault, passive, and military strategy. Skill level, pretty straightforward. You can, between 1 and 20, it's the level of the skill that you have in place. If you're moving around skills a lot, make sure you're checking the level of the skill after your lineup is complete to make sure you haven't lost any level. I've made that mistake a couple of times already, and it's made me a lot weaker for it. Probability, again, pretty straightforward. It's the probability that this skill will activate. Military strategy, passive, and commands are all 100%. They will go off in the prep round, regardless if you want them to or not. The active and assaults are exactly what you think. Since active goes based off of a round of combat, this active skill has a 60% chance of activating. This one is 50%. With assault skills, you have the probability of it activating per normal attack. So if I launch 2 normal attacks, each one will have a 35% chance of activating this skill, and this skill will go off in that round multiple times if it's activated multiple times. Now, I'm not going to use this video to go into different pairings that you can make with different skills. I can save that for each of my hero breakdowns later. If you would like any of these heroes broken down with what I think would be good pairings for them, it might be a little bit different than what the guides tell you to do. Don't get me wrong, the guides are great. They're a good springboard for getting into the game, but I feel like it is lacking in a couple of areas, and I would like to go over each and every one of the heroes eventually. So if you would like to look at any of the heroes, matchups, and skills, let me know. If you have any questions about anything that I've made in this video regarding skills in particular, please feel free to ask. I'm available in game, on Discord, the YouTube comments. Reach out to me anywhere. I'll try and answer your questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, this is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.